with your cooperation, and I very much appreciate it and glad that you're digging into these issues. Ms. Millen, for you, the Finance Committee has conducted a number of investigations into the role of Swiss banks who've been implicated in major offshore tax evasion schemes, including Credit Suisse. One of these investigations looked into the Swiss bank Mirbeau, where Robert Brockman hid more than $1 billion from the IRS for over a decade. And as Chairman Whitehouse knows, we've long been concerned by the general lack of criminal prosecution of bankers and other enablers complicit in major tax evasion schemes. And I know my colleagues are talking about naming people and all the rest. I just named people. We named them. And we said specifically, we're talking about somebody who hid more than $1 billion from the IRS for over a decade. And I'd be curious in your thoughts, how is it credible for foreign banks to claim that they did not know who has an account like this? I mean, I heard my colleague from Louisiana said name some names and all the rest, so we're talking about naming a name. Somebody who had $1 billion hiding in a Swiss bank, and I'm just curious how you can claim that you didn't know it if you're a banker.
Thank you, Senator, for everything that you and your Senate Finance staff have been doing to expose these issues and the ways in which we still see too many violations of the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. It's absolutely what you described with the Mirbeau Bank is a very obvious breach of the law. And when such cases are uncovered, it's important that the DOJ and IRS are very tough on not just the banks and the bankers, but also to make sure that they turn over the names of individual account holders. Unfortunately, that hasn't always happened in the past with respect to some of these DPAs and MPAs that DOJ has signed in this area. So that's, hopefully a lesson learned.
Aren't the bankers required to know who their customers are?
Absolutely, and they're required not only under FATCA, but also under rules, anti-money laundering laws.
That leaves us with kind of a choice. Either they ignore the law or they're not capable of looking at their customer. I mean, it just kind of defies credulity here to believe that they don't know about somebody sitting on $1 billion. So what is it? They don't follow the law? They don't care about the law being on the books and think they're going to get away with it? I mean, how does this
I agree with you. I think that they should know. It's willful blindness if they claim that they don't know. Perhaps if there was more resources put into enforcing FATCA, then we would see more of a deterrent effect.
I know of your work. I will tell you, I don't think this is a resource issue primarily. This is a question about whether you consider it important. If you consider it important, you go out and do it. And if you bump up against a situation where you don't have the resources, you come to the Congress. And let me ask you about one last example in the remainder of my time. The Finance Committee exposed how Credit Suisse bankers helped a family with dual passports living in Miami hide over $90 million from the IRS and DOJ. We are unaware of any charges being filed. What kind of a message is DOJ sending when they don't bring cases against bankers who willingly help American clients hide money offshore? And pretend you're talking to the people at the Department of Justice, because I have. I've talked to them repeatedly. And I have been pretty spirited in my comments about how it is when our terrific investigators who are sitting behind me bring this stuff to them, and we work with Chairman Whitehouse on it, and nothing happens. What kind of a message does it send for DOJ to basically sit back and kind of do nothing?
That's unfortunate and disappointing to hear. And I share the concern, and I would hope that the DOJ would step up their enforcement efforts to make sure that there's a really strong deterrent effect that is as intended by FATCA.
For you and other people who are thoughtful and well respected on these issues, I hope you communicate that to the people at the Department of Justice as well, because I've done it on a number of occasions, and we are still waiting, and we're going to keep pushing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let me interject for 1 second before I turn to Senator Braun, because this is an area where I've spent some time, and I really appreciate